Very good morning, friends. In today's period, we are going to study the new purchase system, that is hire purchase system. What do you mean by hire purchase system? What is the exact meaning of hire purchase system? What are the terms and conditions of hire purchase system? What are the features of hire purchase system? All such things we have to study here in this topic. Okay. Now there are how many words are there? Three words are there. Hire purchase system. It is a system of purchasing through hire. Okay. Hire. That's why it's called hire purchase system. Hire purchase, try to understand. Hire purchase is an agreement between two parties. Don't forget it all. For making payment of such a transaction. Now that is an arrangement. What is it? Hire purchase is an arrangement for buying expensive consumer goods, where the buyers make an initial down payment. Try to understand. At the time of the purchasing, buyer makes an initial down payment and pays the balance plus interest. Balance plus interest, that amount buyer pays, okay, in the installment. The term hire purchase is commonly used in United Kingdom, where it is used in United Kingdom, and it's more commonly known as installment plan in the United States. However, there can be a difference between two. With some installment plans, the buyer gets the ownership rights as soon as the contract is signed with the seller. With hire purchase agreement, this is not done. In hire purchase agreement, the ownership of the merchandise is not officially transferred to the buyer. When it will be transferred? Until all the payments have been made. After making all payment, definitely the ownership can be transferred to the buyers, and this is the difference. Try to understand. In case of installment system, what will happen? In case of installment system, when agreement takes place, at that time the ownership of that particular merchandise transferred to the buyer, but it is not happen in case of hire purchase. In hire purchase system, when ownership will be transferred? When ownership will be transferred in hire purchase system? In hire purchase system, ownership will be officially transferred after making complete payment, full payment. Last installment also you have to pay, and after paying the last installment, definitely the ownership of the merchandise can be transferred. Okay. Now hire purchase means what? Hire purchase means a transaction. Hire purchase means a transaction where goods are purchased and sold on the terms. Different types of the terms and conditions are there, and those terms and conditions both parties have to follow. It means that goods are purchased and sold on the different types of the terms and conditions are there. What are the terms are there? First term I have given here, payment will be made in installment. Don't forget at all. How payment will be made? Payment will be made in installment, not a lump sum, not a lump sum at one amount. Okay. Then second term also we have to understand the possession of the goods. The possession of the goods is given to the buyer immediately. Possession is given, but not a ownership. Don't forget at all. The possession of the goods is given to the buyer immediately. The property means ownership in the goods remain with the vendor till the last installment is paid. The seller can repurchase the goods in case of default in payment of any installment. If the purchaser will become a defaulter, at that time seller can purchase that goods. It means that after defaulting such type of a possession of goods can be taken by the seller. Don't forget at all. And this term also we have to understand. This condition also we have to study here. Then each installment is treated as a hire charges. Whatever may be higher installments are there, higher purchase installments are there, those installments are treated as a higher charges till the last installment is paid. Okay. That's why you have to take precaution that each and every installment you should have to pay within time. Okay, don't try to breach the agreement. Okay, if it is happen at that time, seller can repurchase the goods, and whatever maybe installments you have paid, those installment will be treated as a higher charges. That's why that is your loss. That is your loss as a buyer. That's why you have to take precaution about making payment of each and every installment. Don't forget at all. Then, what are the features? What are the features of hire purchase? There are different types of the features we have to understand. Hire purchase installment system is very essential and convenient to the buyers. Don't forget at all. As per the conveniency of the buyers, such type of systems are also provided there, and such type of finance is also provided to the customer. The payment is to be made. Try to understand. First feature, the payment is to be made by the hire. Okay, made by the hirer. Hirer means buyer. To the hiree means seller. Usually the vendor in installment over specified period of time. Okay, such type of a payment hirer has to pay. Try to understand. And this is also the feature. Then another feature also we have to study here. The possession of goods is transferred to the buyer immediately. The possession of the goods definitely can be transferred immediately to the buyer. Okay. The property in the goods, try to understand. The property in the goods remain with the vendor. It means hiree. Vendor means what? Hiree. Till the last installment paid. The ownership passes to the buyer means hirer when he pays all installments. When he pays all installment, automatically that ownership will be transferred to the hirer or the buyer. This also feature we have to study. Then another feature is also there. The hire or the vendor can repossess. Vendor can repossess the goods in case of default and treat the amount received by the way of installment as a higher charged for that period. Already I told you when we were considering the definition at that time we have seen there. We have studied that whatever may be installments buyer paid, but he is now become defaulter at that time. Though installments, the amount of those installments will be treated as a higher charges. Okay, treated as a higher charges. That's why you have to pay all installments within time, within schedule also. And this feature also we have to study of the hire purchase system. Then another feature also we have to understand. The installment in hire purchase includes interest. The installment of the hire purchase includes interest as well as repayment of principal. Okay, it means that principal plus interest, principal amount plus interest, such type of installment you have to pay. Okay, and the last feature also we have to study. Usually the higher charges interest on flat rate. Usually the higher charges interest on flat rate, not a reducing system. That is a flat rate system, and these are the features of hire purchase system. It means that with the help of the all such information, we can understand what will understand the all such agreements, all such terms and conditions we should have to know, we should have to study. Okay, then though the concept of hire purchase is not very prevalent in India, there is a similar concept called mortgage. Don't forget it all. Another similar concept is also there. What is it? Mortgage. Usually mortgage involves pledged in the items previously owned by the borrower in order to fetch some spending money, and the ownership of the item, it will be transferred to the lender as long as they repay the last debt. Okay, in hire purchase, borrower purchase a new item. Okay, this thing also we have to understand. In the both cases, try to understand, in the both cases the ownership of the purchased goods, it means in case of mortgage also, in case of hire purchase also, definitely you will find the ownership of the product, ownership of the goods will be transferred to the lender until borrower pay off whole debt. Okay, It means that until borrower pay the last amount, then and then the ownership will be transferred. Same situation you will find in case of hire purchase also. Until payment of last installment of the hire purchase, the ownership will not transferred. After making payment of last installment means full amount, then and then the ownership will be transferred to the buyer. That is also the one thing we have to understand. Okay. Now, what are the advantages of a hire purchase system? Those advantages also we have to understand. There are different types of the advantages. There are different types of the advantages you will find. But some advantages, few of them I have listed here, which are important as per my opinion. First advantage is also there. Hire purchase or leasing. Hire purchase or leasing allows company to control and deploy assets without significant drain on working capital. What is it? Hire purchase or leasing allows companies to control and deploy the assets without significant drain on working capital. Means that there will be no effect on working capital also. That's why such type of control can be displayed. Then another advantage is also there. Fixed rate funding. Fixed rate funding makes budgeting easy. Fixed rate funding makes budgeting easy as the lazy has clear sight. As the lazy has the clear sight of future expenditure. That's why this is the another advantage. Then flexibility of repayment structure is also available. Flexibility of repayment structuring is also available to allow the seasonal business. That is one payment also in a year. And to reduce monthly outlay of the factoring the balloon payment at the end of them or at the end of the term. It means that there is a flexibility. You should have to understand how you can understand here, how you can remind there. In hire purchase system, there is a flexibility of repayment structure. Okay. Then another advantage is also there. What is it? Leasing prevents the risk of an assets depreciating quickly and providing flexibility to enter into new contract at the end of the original lease's fixed term. And this type of benefits also you can understand. Then another benefit is also there. Financing assets purchases can more tax efficient. Such type of purchasing of the assets are more tax efficient than standard term loans due to the lease payments being booked as expenses. Although asset depreciation also provide tax benefit, the usable lifetime of the asset will vary depend upon the assets and local regulations. Such type of a usable lifetime of asset is also different. It will be vary depending on the assets and the local regulations also. Then another advantage we have to understand, high accessibility of financing for businesses. Try to understand. High accessibility of financing for businesses due to the financing being secured with the leased assets and the assets being owned by the financing company. This type of advantage also we have to understand here. Then another benefit is also there, another advantage is also there. In certain circumstances, there is a maintenance. In certain circumstances, there is also maintenance included within the term of agreement. Included within the term of agreement. And there is also advantage of the hire purchase system. Now, what are the disadvantages of hire purchase system? First disadvantage is also there. Total sum of capital payments. Total sum of capital payments for hire purchase or leasing will be higher than full payment of the assets purchased. Try to understand. It means that total sum of capital repayment or capital payment for hire purchase or leasing will be higher than full payment on the assets purchased. This is the disadvantage. Then another disadvantage is also there. The administrative complexity and cost will be greater. That is also disadvantage. The administration complexity is also there and cost will be also greater if company convenience are applied to the arrangement. For example, updates of changes of equipment locations, and this requires more cost. Okay, that's why that is also the disadvantage. And the another disadvantage of the hire purchase system we have to study, that is if the business changes its strategy. When business is going to change the strategy, at that time resulting in the leased assets no longer being useful, there can be early termination charges or restrictions on subleasing. Try to understand. And these are three different advantages of the hire purchase system. Now we have to study, after studying the disadvantages, what are the features? What are the features and characteristics of hire purchase system? There are different types of the features and characteristics are there, and those features and characteristics we have to study in detail. First feature of the hire purchase system I have enlisted here. What is it? Rental payments are paid in installments over the period of arrangement. Whatever may be installment payment you are making there, that will be treated as a hire, that will be treated as a rental. Up to what extent? Up to you are going to pay the last installment. After making payment of last installment, definitely the ownership of the particular goods and assets will be transferred to the buyers. And this is the feature. Another feature is also there. The rental payment is considered as a charge for hiring assets. Definitely, already I told you. Rental payment, whatever may be rental payment is there, that is considered as charges or charge of hiring the assets. This means that if the hirer defaults, on the any payment, the seller has all rights to take back the assets. If hirer became defaulter, at that time seller can take back that asset, and this type of feature also have to understand. Then another feature also there, that all the required terms and conditions between both the parties involved are documented in contract called hire purchase agreement. What is it? All the required terms and conditions between both the parties are documented. All such conditions, all such terms are definitely documented in the contract, which is called, what is the name, what is the title? It is entitled as hire purchase agreement. What is called? Hire purchase agreement. It means that you have to understand that in hire purchase agreement, all the required terms and conditions are included. All the required terms and conditions are involved. And this type of feature also have to understand. Then another feature is also there, the frequency of the installments. The frequency of the installments may be annual, half yearly. The installment may be annual, may be half yearly, may be quarterly, or may be monthly, etc. according to the terms of agreement. Try to understand. The frequency of the installments may be annual, may be half yearly, may be quarterly, or may be monthly. Okay, and such type of installment frequency also we have to understand, and this is also the feature of the hire purchase system. Then another feature also we have to understand, assets are instantly delivered to the hirer. Assets are instantly delivered to the hirer as soon as agreement is signed. After signing the agreement, definitely and immediately the assets are delivered to the hirer. Then another feature is also there, if hirer uses the option to purchase. If the hirer uses the option to purchase, the assets are possessed to him after the last installment is paid. It means that after last installment paid, such type of hirer can use the option of purchase, and this feature also have to understand. Then another feature is also there, if the hirer does not want to own the assets. If the hirer does not want to own the asset, he can return the asset any time and is not required to pay any installment that falls due after the return. Okay, it means that if he does not want to own that asset, he can return it. Try to understand. Then another feature is also there. However, once the hirer returns the assets, once the hirer returns the asset, he cannot claim back any payment already paid, as they are charged towards the hire and use of that asset. It means that after returning that asset, hirer cannot make charge or cannot make any claim on the payment which he has already made, okay, which he has already paid. This type of feature also we have to understand. Then another feature is also there. The hirer cannot pledge, sell or mortgage the assets. He is not owned of his assets till the last payment is made. Whatever may be transaction is going on under the hire purchase system, and whatever may be assets he is going to use there, those assets hirer cannot pledge, those assets hirer cannot sell, those assets hirer cannot keep on mortgage, okay. And this type of feature also you should have to understand. Then the hirer usually pays certain amounts. The hirer usually pays certain amounts as an initial deposit or down payment while signing the agreement. It means that the hirer usually pays certain amount, and that certain amount is treated as an initial deposit or down payment while signing the agreement. Then another feature is also there. Generally, the hirer can terminate the hire purchase agreement. Generally, the hirer can terminate the hire purchase agreement any time. Hirer can terminate the hire purchase agreement any time before ownership rights pass to him. Okay? It means that up to passing the ownership right, hirer can terminate such type of a hire purchase agreement any time. Don't forget at all. And this is also the feature. Now, there is a choice for the hirer, hiree and other parties whether such hire purchase system is adopted or leasing system is adopted. There is choice. Now we have to study what is the difference between hire purchase and leasing system, or leasing and hire purchase system. With the help of different points, we can explain the difference between the leasing and hire purchase system. Now, in case of ownership also there is a difference between leasing and hire purchase. What is the difference? In case of leasing, leaser is the owner. Leaser is the owner until the end of the agreement. Try to understand. In leasing cases, leaser is the owner until the end of the agreement. And what about in hire purchase system? In hire purchase system, hirer has the option to purchase the assets at the end of the agreement. And there is an option, don't forget at all, in hire purchase system. Now, in case of duration also, we can differentiate these two, leasing and hire purchase. Duration, in case of leasing, done for longer duration. It means that leasing is done for longer duration and hire purchase is done for shorter duration. This is the difference. Then in case of depreciation also, with the help of depreciation also, we can differentiate these 2 points. Leaser claims the depreciation. Try to understand. Leaser claims to depreciation, but hirer claims the depreciation also. Hirer claims depreciation also. In case of hire purchase, hirer claims depreciation, and in case of leasing, leaser claims depreciation. This is the difference. Then payment. In case of leasing, rental payments are the cost of using the assets. In case of leasing, rental payments are the cost of using the assets. And in case of hire purchase, payment include the principal amount and the effective interest for the duration of the agreement. In case of hire purchase, that payment is made which is included the principal amount and effective interest for the duration of the agreement. Then what about tax impact? In case of leasing, leasee rentals categorized as expenditure by the leasee. Lease rentals, try to understand, lease rentals, the categorized as expenditure by the leasee. And in case of hire purchase, only interest component is categorized as expenditure by the hirer. Only interest component is categorized as expenditure by the hirer. Now, in case of the extent of financing, with the help of this point also we can differentiate the leasing and hire purchase. In case of extent of the financing, leasing complete the financing. But in case of hire purchase, partial financing is also there. What type of financing is also there? Partial financing is there. Then what about repairs and maintenance? Whose responsibility is there? Responsibility of repairs and maintenance. In case of leasing, the responsibility of the leasee in the financial lease and of the lessor in operating lease. Okay? And in case of hire purchase, responsibility of repairs and maintenance is of the hirer. Whose responsibility is there? Hirer's responsibility is there. In this way, we can differentiate these 2 points. It means leasing and hire purchase with the help of all these points. Okay, and with the help of these points, we can make choice which is a feasible system to us. Okay, and from those systems, we can select whatever may be reasonable, whatever may be suitable to our organization. Then hire purchase is to be suitable for whom? Try to understand. Very simple points are here. Hire purchase system is suitable to which type of organization? Hire purchase system is best suitable for small scale companies and entrepreneurs who can benefit from hire purchase. Expensive and important assets can be hired and later owned. This ensures that they can start using the assets. They can start using the assets from very first day and use the money earned to later buy the same asset. Okay, this point also we have to understand. It means that hire purchase system is suitable to such type of companies. Which type of company? Small scale companies. Okay, in this way we have studied the concept hire purchase system in detail. Okay, thank you very much.